Hi everyone, my name is Lisa. Welcome. Whether this is your first time here or you're back again, I'm really glad you're here. I run L&L Express Services. I work as a real estate transaction coordinator and virtual assistant, and I've been doing this for over 12 years. So I've spent the whole time behind the scenes of real estate deals, learning what actually makes them run smoothly and what doesn't. So every week, I'm sharing what that experience has taught me right here. I've closed hundreds of files over the last 12 years, and today I want to answer the question I get asked more than any other question. What does a transaction coordinator actually do? So if you're new here, I'm Lisa. I run L&L Express Services. I've handled standard residential deals, condos, multi-unit properties, wholesale transactions, and cash buyer deals across multiple states like Florida, Texas, Georgia, and Illinois. So every one of those transaction types works a little bit differently, which is part of what makes the job interesting. No two files are ever quite the same, even when they look very similar on paper. So let's start with the basic definition. A transaction coordinator, or TC, manages the administration and the deadline-driven side of a real estate deal from the moment a contract is signed all the way through closing. I'm not the agent. I don't show the houses. I don't negotiate prices or terms or any of that. My entire job is making sure that once a deal is under contract, nothing falls through the cracks on the way to the closing table. So let me walk you through what exactly looks like phase by phase. So for phase one, the contract intake, the moment a contract lands in my inbox, I open a new file. And before anything else, I read through every date in that contract and build out a complete timeline. The inspection period, financing contingency, appraisal deadlines, title commitment date, closing date, everything. A single file can easily have 6 to 15 different individual deadlines buried inside it. Miss even one of those smaller ones, and it creates a domino effect that pushes back everything after it. Now, here's a quick tip for you. If you're doing this yourself, never rely on memory for deadlines, even for a day or two. Write every single thing down the moment you see it before you do anything else with the file. I love to add it to my calendar. That's just been a habit for me throughout the years. Phase two is the inspection period. This is one of the highest staked windows in the whole transaction. This is when the buyer has the property inspected, and there's often a deadline tied to it that determines when the buyer's rights to raise concerns or exit the contract expires. So my job is to make sure that deadline never quietly slips through unnoticed, and that I'm confirming with the agent usually whether the inspection was completed and what the next step is. Not negotiating the outcome myself, but making sure that the timeline stays on track. So phase three is the financing and appraisal. So I stay in regular contact with the lender's processor, checking on loan approved status, confirming the appraisal is scheduled, flagging early if anything looks behind schedule. I'd rather catch a financing delay 2 weeks out than find out about it about 2 or 3 days before the closing. So phase four is the week before closing. I confirm with the title company they have everything they need, make sure that the last documents are signed, send a closing checklist to everyone involved so nobody is surprised on closing day. So here's a real example for you. Right after I got started, like within my first year, I once had a file where financing contingency deadline had technically passed without written confirmation from the lender. So everything looked fine on the surface. The buyer was in communication, documents were flowing, but the specific date hadn't been confirmed in writing. I reached out to the lender's processor directly instead of assuming it would resolve itself. And it turned out there was a documentation gap that nobody had flagged yet. So I fixed it within 2 days because it was caught early. But if that would have surfaced like the week of closing instead, it would have been jeopardized the whole deal. So that's really the heart of this job. It's not paperwork shuffling, it's active tracking, catching the thing that hasn't gone wrong yet, but it's about to. Okay, so why agents would hire a transaction coordinator, or better known these days, a TC. So simple math. So A busy agent's time is best doing things spent like finding clients, showing properties, negotiating deals. They don't have the time to personally track like 14 deadlines across 10 open files while their phone's going ringing off the hook or texting every 5 minutes. So handing that off isn't about the agent being disorganized. It's about protecting their time for the parts only that they can do. So, do you need a license? So, here's something that surprises people. In most states, you don't need a real estate license to do this work. I'm here in Oklahoma and it doesn't require one. I started in Texas and back then it didn't require one. I worked in Illinois and Florida and also Georgia and never had a problem with those. My suggestion would be though just to look it up in your state, whatever state you're in, to make absolute sure what the requirements are because every state is different. So what you do need to be is extremely organized, sharp attention to detail, and the ability to stay level-headed when three things go wrong on the same day. And believe me, that day will happen sooner or later. So I'll be honest, the first time a deal came unfortunately close to falling apart over a missed disclosure early in my career, it rattled me. But that exact experience pushed me to build the systems I still rely on today. Every hard lesson turned into a checklist item, and those checklist items became the backbone of how I run every file. So, one more tip, and this one took me years to learn. Always confirm things in writing, no matter what. Even when a verbal answer feels certain, like I'll get it to you today from a lender, means nothing until it's actually in your file. So the different transaction types, the type of transactions change the details too. So like a wholesale deal has an added layer of assignment paperwork, a standard residential deal never touches. A cash buyer deal skips financing contingencies but still has its own timeline pressure. Multi-units and condo transactions bring in sometimes HOA documents and extra disclosures. So I'll be covering each of those in upcoming videos. So I'd actually love to hear from you all on this one. If you're already working as a TC or thinking about becoming one, tell me in the comments what part of this job you like the most, what makes it sound interesting to you, or perhaps the most intimidating part to you. I read every comment and it helps me know exactly what to cover next. So in the next video, I'll walk you through my actual contract to close checklist step by step. And after that, exactly how I got started without a real estate license. So if any of this is useful, I've put together the exact checklist I use on every single file, completely free. The link in the description and the pinned comments below is where you'll find that. So if this was helpful, I would love to have you all stick around. I'm sharing everything I know about this business one video at a time. So if you're serious about growing in this industry, hit subscribe. I post new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. So I'll see you in the next one. And until then, have a great day.